Hey kiddos, we're back here for another SmackDown review, and of course we had a not amazing episode. It was practically the same show. The only thing was Jimmy Uso was back in action, but these are like mid-carders giving main events excuse because SmackDown has very little star power. Nearly the same shit I say over the last couple weeks. And I'm not saying this to protest that I think like Cesaro and Jimmy Uso are crap or they shouldn't be having a wrestling match, but this is like the pretense of like literally having nobody to feel like they should watch SmackDown. Like for Roman, for Raw, is like Raw is always the same show, but at least you suspect good matches out of people like Sheamus, Strowman, McIntyre, and Lashley. Like guys that look like they belong in the top of the company. Roman Reigns is just there, and he's there for the big money matches. I get that. I understand that. And I can get why you could leave him over for pay-per-view and still have him build over most of the show. Hell, you don't even have to let Roman Reigns wrestle. You can make him wrestle at least once or 2 weeks before pay-per-view, and that's fine enough to at least give a pretense of a build. I'm just not conflicted that Cesaro's even going to be a consistent top Carter. This is just the same phase of Nikki Cross deserves this. Where did this come from when Nikki Cross won the tag team titles? You like just absolutely abhorrent. We had an opening segment involving Roman Reigns. Jimmy Uso coming around proclaiming that his own brother disrespected the head of the table and trying to set things right over with Jimmy to try to get him right with Roman. Even though Jimmy yet again proclaims that he's doing this just for himself. He's not doing this for the family. And it comes over to an altercation with Cesaro and Reigns that would be later tonight. That why and I understand they're probably going to see they're trying to season up probably a future match involving brother to brother that sounds more interesting, but it involves Cesaro just feeling like he's just a side of the story because Cesaro's so goddamn bland. He can barely talk unless those guys come in because Cesaro can't open a show. He cannot hype up a crowd and he can't generate enough of a interesting conversation point to make him feel like he can open a show with a promo. I can understand some people like him, and don't get me wrong, I feel like Cesaro is really talented. That doesn't mean he should be at least a top card or hell a mid card, even if it was a brand split. And then we had this boring ass match involving Natalia and, and Tamina against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And the match was so intensely boring. It's been like the same goddamn matches over the last couple weeks. Counters over the right side, a thrust kick, Samoan drop, a distraction involving Reginald until he got nearly booted out of the match from ringside. A terrible Superfly splash for the win after Natalya took out Shayna from the match. It was that sloppily booked. They put Pyro over, like they interviewed like Natalya, weren't you a women's champion? How's winning the tag team in any promotion? When was tag team championships that much of a proclaiming reason to be a top Carter in the show? To ever garner Pyro from even Hall of Famers winning back championships. I don't think even Jim Duggan and Ric Flair, two Hall of Famers winning tag team titles in like their 60s, never garnered Pyro. Never. It makes zero sense. Even Vince McMahon, he won two world titles in his time on TV. Never garnered Pyro. Natalya and Tamina? Really? Is this like the assemblation of hype of when a Big E won his second Intercontinental Championship? Mark U, his second Intercontinental Championship, and he garnered Pyro on an episode of SmackDown? I can understand for a big moment because it was the main event, but that's the only reason. I really didn't care. Tamina and Natalya suck. Very like coming like already. My own mother, walked around me watching while I was watching SmackDown, calling Natalya transgender. That shows you the semblance, like, it shows you how much even Eva Marie is more of an essential draw than Natalia. Come around always wearing leather. Oh, black is supposed to be slim and looking ass. Like, stop. Just, Natalia sucks. And you can say she's a great technician, she Peter Dews. She comes around getting upset over a tier list. This woman is a fucking woman child, a girl child. And if, like a woman child, if you can't tell me any differently, like, what's her charisma? What really brings her over that she does many other moves that like any other regular technician can do is she never gets over all of it on it. Nobody can tell me, even people that think they support women's wrestling, they can never tell me a top match. It looks like she only took lipo over her face and forgot the rest of her body needs to be at least looking a bit more attractive. Like, that's about it. Tamina just looks awful. Oh man. Just awful. It absolutely sucks. Next up, we got a Medal of Honor ceremony involving Apollo Crews awarding something to his general, Aziz. A special Medal of Honor for several moments of rambling, and then Big E coming to disrupt the ceremony, settling over a title opportunity to say that Azazel has done nothing. It issued Sami Zayn coming out to partake, and I understand it's going to be a four-way for the Intercontinental Championship because it's always been the same. To like Owens and Sami need something to do to interlude their feud, and I know Paulo's going to retain, so it just brings no eventfulness because it feels like they're already interluding so much of a story that just makes no sense. It's like the same thing they were trying to do back in Extreme Rules of 2016 when Kevin Owens and Sami were feuding, and then it was Cesaro and Miz that were feuding for the Intercontinental Championship. Like, it never works out. It's just gonna be a great match. Like, it's okay when if you do storylines like this, but it feels like it's just there because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn aren't that interesting. Oh, but they had but Sami Zayn was with Logan Paul or Jake Paul. I don't really care. You have two guys that are still like culturally relevant, like Logan Paul. Freaking Logan Paul is about to have a money-making fight where he's probably going to make $100 million, facing off against one of the greatest boxers in that is still living today, and Floyd Mayweather, and Bad Bunny. That's a record-breaking artist. That's a semblance relevant over pop culture, and a award-winning artist that even brought a 24/7 championship, a WWE property, into something like Saturday Night Live, a primetime television show that's been on TV for decades. And still, that didn't garner any semblance of, like, any growth in the viewership for Raw or SmackDown. Because most of the wrestlers suck. When Mike Tyson was with Stone Cold Steve Austin was already a certified pop culture hit back in like 1998. The Rock, they were already popular. You put them with a Max celebrity, that's gonna get like a buttload of viewers. So you understand, like, you want to see personalities mixed with celebrities. That's what kind of how it works. Nobody wants to see if the guy from the wrestler interacts with somebody like Angel Garza. What do you think that's going to get? Like 2,500,000 views? Like, come on, guys. And here's a match that should have been on the Retro SmackDown because I actually remember SmackDown matches involving Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. The matches were all right there. Why wasn't that? But they went to Dominic to get over Ziggler, and then Rude doesn't even wrestle. And there was a spot after the match. Dominic comes around overpowering heavyweight wrestler, a guy that's more shredded, like Robert Roode, over like 25-year-old, a kid that doesn't look like he hasn't weightlifted in his life, Dominic Mysterio, coming around looking like if Samoa Joe was a Twitch streamer. No disrespect, Dominic. I hope you do well in the wrestling business. You just you're still not that built for me to take you that seriously, and you obviously haven't improved that much over your acting chops. So I hope you do get better though. A match otherwise was all right. There was Tornado DDT, Hurricane Rana. It was a baseball slide splash from Rey Mysterio. It's been the same match, and they're just doing this because they have to intertwine because they're feuding for the tag team titles, and it's father-son dynamic. That's about it. That's the only thing people care about, to be honest. I don't think really anybody cares if even Biggie. If the Dirty Dogs retain, even though I think they are going to push it over because they have been garnering the most momentum and they've been beating teams like the Alpha Academy over the last few weeks. And that was practically it. The tag team division is so bad. They have to move their championship match to their makeshift pre-show or the SmackDown Go Home show. That was about it. This was typically not 50-50 booking because I think Dominic picked up the win against Ziggler over a roll-up. So they're obviously garnering the most momentum out of this match come WrestleMania Backlash. And for God's sakes, just move the belts away because at least there could be a bit of publicity over trying to push Dominic with his father. Next up is, of course, Bayley warning Bianca Belair. At least Bianca Belair finally looks like a freaking adult. Dresses in a nice little blue dress. Looks nice. Bayley comes around yet again on a time trying to hype up the match with her fake ass menacing looking face. She just looks like Cleopatra doesn't want to F her brothers anymore. Or just doesn't want dick anymore. That's what Bayley looks like with her crescent moon looking face. Trying to be like, trying to bring back the women champions and Bianca Belair. I don't think Sasha Banks was in that list. She put Molly Holly and Trish Stratus. And no epic encounter because Bayley already lost her several times on free television, and they're now essentializing her most of the story, and the most they have to reference is just her long reign as women's champion. And she's barely had any feuds that interluded her in looking strong. And last time they did put her over on feuds, it was against Bianca Belair, where she looked weak. I don't get it. I understand you probably want a breath of fresh air for Bianca Belair in her first title reign, but if that's going to be the case, why not just have Bianca just have a rematch with Sasha Banks? At least you can build up the moment that a rookie can't be this lucky. And it would make sense because she's the call-up. How could she beat you? I thought the point of Backlash was rematches, and most I'm seeing is triple threats. This is just garbage, guys. And just the crap acting over by Bianca Belair and uh, no facial gestures over off Bayley after they reference the bell is disrespecting you at WrestleMania and the EST is good for this Sunday. It's so NXT built because Bianca is not that hype of a factor and Bayley just sucks at her job and making a pay-per-view buy. Stop. Come on, man. I'm not gonna try to be always a misogynist. I understand that sex sells. These chicks just suck at trying to hype over a fight. At all. I'm not saying that the show would be better if they were twerking or anything. Just try to at least induce some acting to make this feel better. You had your longest reign. What supposedly is a history-making thing for your career in the business. And she doesn't even legitimize that over most of her promo. Feels so mid-cardy. Her heel shtick is worse than her baby face. And that's hard for me to say. But it is. Bayley being a heel sucks. And then we had Baron Corbin backstage with his weeaboo bullshit jacket. Facing off against Shinsuke Nakamura. Where, during his entrance in his little promo that they put minimized. And it's yeah, we're gonna beat Corbin. Nakamura sucks. He comes around playing with his knuckles after he came jerking himself off because he said he thinks he's so greatest in New Japan or some crap like that. The match was so damn terrible. And the only reason why they're feuding is because Corbin got pinned by Nakamura in the 10-man tag from last week. And this was a battle from the King of Strong Style and the King of the Ring. When was that interlude that your wrestling style that barely anybody in the United States hear about is even confirming over a storyline, all because you pinned him in a 10-man tag that had technically nothing to do with you guys? That's the only reason why Corbin and Nakamura are still on TV. If that was the case for me, I would release both of them. Corbin still looks like a cancer patient with love handles, and Nakamura just looks like an old boy Michael Jackson, like were sexually assaulted by some mud baby. Like come on. Just stop. Armbar, knee strike, kick, heel kick, deep six. Corbin wins off an awkward full package, but still tosses him outside the ring even though he pinned him anyway. And it ends with Nakamura Kinshasa-ing him anyway, awkwardly turning him heel, and he just takes the crown away. Like, it takes the crown away, doing the whole, like, what the and he takes the goddamn crown. Well, like, okay, strong style. Even those photos and shit like that. Like, what? And then I hear over on some YouTube channel that I was like, Nakamura makes shit and turning into like, what the? What character does Nakamura have anyway, guys? Be honest with yourself. Like, what has Nakamura done that's been game chasing? Even though this guy won a Rumble. Like, he's supposed to be the next big thing, or at least the biggest thing going to win a Rumble. And Nakamura isn't. Can't barely act, can't speak English, can barely even hook people up with... The only cool move he does is a bottom rope German suplex baseball slide. And even that doesn't even garner a reaction. Nakamura sucks. Comes over with this seizure-inducing gimmick over a strong style where I can't even take him less seriously. Because now I'm going to feel like he's just a weirdo, seizure-inducing Japanese dude with a jobber feuding for the next couple weeks over who's the king of what? A wrestling style or something that's already notified in the WWE history. Like, no one cares. And why does Corbin still have this King of the Ring gimmick 2 years along the line? If they give you a King of the Ring gimmick for that long, longer than King Booker, you know you suck at life. Because if they canceled out Booker T's gimmick of being a king back in 07, Booker T would still get over because people know who Booker T is. Even on TNA, didn't even have the King Booker gimmick. That was barely even referenced that much over on TNA. People just know who Booker T is because Booker T's a superstar. He looks like a wrestler, and he can be entertaining. That's Booker T. Baron Corbin sucks. I could call him Karen Corbin because how much he bitches over more internet crap than the actual stuff getting over in the company. God. Next up, we had our main event involving Jimmy Uso wearing "I Ain't No Bitch." This better not be on WWE.com. That would be weird. If it was WWEshop.com, get you "I Ain't No Bitch" t-shirt. Wait, what? Our main event was Cesaro versus Jimmy Uso 1-on-1. Now, this match, I don't know what was this for, but before we had this, we had, of course, another Tales of the Crypt of the school shooter from Aleister Black. Oh, God, he told us a lesson about being forced to steal. Forged of steel and made of ash. And being mysterious and cryptic. Wearing a man bun. I miss my Hispanic wife. And, oh my God, why am I with this Bray Wyatt, like, vibe? Like, stop. The mystique of Aleister Black just shows that if all you can do is kicks and you garner no talking ability, they have to do this crap. It's so boring. Like, at least Bray Wyatt can stand out, because at least he can be cryptic, but the imagery that he has, and he can actually pull off a pretty good promo when he has to. That at least, like, some fans used to at least give out that, okay, Bray Wyatt is the next big thing. Cool, cultish gimmick, can talk, and does moves that actually are cool. Aleister Black's is just kicks. And a forced Bray Wyatt cryptic promo over him being like this supposed ripoff student of Ra's al Ghul ass shit. Like, I can't get behind this. And then we had the Cesaro and Jimmy Uso match. And the one thing that turned me off a bit over this match was a fake for an injury, and instead of super kicking him in the face to catch him by surprise and try to get an easy pin, it came into a midsection kick. An enziguri off Jimmy Uso, duck into a super kick. I don't know where the uppercut looked devastating over Cesaro, and he did a running senton over the apron. Average match. Jimmy Uso was a bit on the defensive until Roman Reigns broke it up for a DQ. And when Jimmy Uso was getting in an argument with Roman Reigns, saying this is all about him, this is not about the family, Roman Reigns consulting him to help him out. And it comes in with Cesaro beating up on Jay, Roman Reigns coming up, and it ends with Cesaro taking everybody out because he's the top contender. And we understand that Roman is going to win anyway, so there's really no point into the show because they had to end it over on DQ to make sure Jimmy doesn't lose in his return, and Cesaro gets pushed up to at least still be protected until the pay-per-view where some overbooked BS work rate crap is going to happen. So that's practically the show. It was good. No, it was just mediocre. Like, it's been feeling like the same couple shows. Even for a supposed fake anniversary special, just to garner over, like, 100,000 more viewers. Like, you guys, like, SmackDown is over the bare minimum. Now, wrestling fans expect the worst, and they still try to deny it by saying, it wasn't that bad, but I'm not gonna rewatch the show. Bro, if something's not rewatchable for you, that means it isn't that good. Me and my brother haven't watched freaking Justice League since since it aired, and we rewatched it because we knew that there was great episodes with characters that we know, hot characters that we know, and want to see them fight through any sort of villains. Because Justice League is that much of a good show. Same thing with Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. It's not that it's a wrestling show. It's because it's a TV show. Get over yourselves. It's not that hard. Hell, I can book it with 5 matches with a couple segments and make the show watchable. Interluding around the story. We can just revolve it around the Roman Reigns stuff because the Roman Reigns drama is better than anything involving Cesaro that just feels like an afterthought. Come on. This is like a bona fide 4 out of 10. Below average. Only one decent match that ended over on DQ. And predictable build for something that's already going to happen at Backlash. I'm sorry, WrestleMania Backlash, because it's just as important as WrestleMania, and it's right after Like, I don't get it. Wow. And they're still going to make, like, these dumb videos involving SmackDown being, like, it's better than Raw, because there's the wrestlers, and Apollo finally has a gimmick, and the Bianca Belair is obviously more refined than Rhea Ripley. And Roman Reigns is just a better talker. Roman Reigns is still sitting over most of the viewership that they've been getting since late 2020. I understand that Roman Reigns has a good gimmick, but one character can't save a show. Just like when people want Karrion Kross to garner more viewership. I like Karrion Kross because he looks like a guy that can beat my ass. I like wrestlers that look like they realistically I can't beat. Like, that's the cool part about it. And now I can't get that with the other stars. Because the viewership goes up when there's a lot more people to care about in the show. That's why Game of Thrones was big, because every character kept you more interesting than the main characters. And it was unpredictable, and it made over for good TV. On SmackDown and Raw, barely any other guys can get you hooked into watching the show weekly. Jesus. It's like nobody wants to get it over, and then they complain, oh, if you hate the show, don't watch it, and then you understand why the show goes down in ratings and viewership-wise. Because the show sucks, and you don't want to admit it. That's it coming from the video. Thanks for watching the review. I might do a watch-along of Under Siege on paper. I don't know if that's a pay-per-view. I really don't. It's an Impact Plus special. It's going to be a 6-man pack challenge to see who will be the contender for Kenny Omega's Impact Wrestling World title. I guess that'll be interesting. And I'll just roast it. You guys can come in. And thanks for watching.